Hello, my name is Ismail Bayram and welcome to my portfolio demonstration. First off, we have the console render that I made for the TTY terminals. It's cross-platform, so it would run on any device except for the input handling, which I'm using to move around in the scene. That one is Windows specific. I have implemented a physically based rendering, basically dynamic lighting within the terminal itself. As you can see also in the video, it's purely within the terminal using ASCII characters and escape codes for the coloring, which gives me access to more than 60 million color combinations. I've tried to make a basic moving light source and a small rectangle plane. The materials have roughness and also reflections, which we can tweak. I've tried to make the made to borders a little less reflective, which is visible barely. Next off, we have the Garden of Life. For this project, I've worked with a handful of students from Saxion and ROC in Stichting Game Lab Oost. For this one, we tried to replicate a peptide. So the HLA-A2 groove. This one, we wanted to use the data gathered from the players to help advance the cure for lymphoma cancer, which sounds way off the goal here with the puzzle game, but how it works is that we've gathered the data because there's countless different solutions. We've tried to analyze how people solve the puzzle and send the data to a database, which will then be used to train the artificial intelligence that's going to make predictions based on how well the peptide is going to bind to artificial cells, basically. And then next off is a Minecraft clone I tried to make. A quick demo. It's generating the chunks on the go and then saving them to a file to be later loaded again, which means less chunk generation time, and also the changes you make are going to be saved. As you can see in the vertex data, the textures data is also saved, which is 11 bits, which is quite a lot of textures for a small game that I'm trying to make. I just wanted to optimize the vertex data as much as possible, which is the normals, x, y, and z coordinates within the chunk, so the local coordinates, and then the texture. But then for the demo, I only used the normals for the shading and coloring here, but the textures are also available in the vertex data. And then lastly for the portfolio, I have the 2D RPG game that I made. This might be the biggest project that I made, the first biggest project that I made, which is basically a vampire survival type of game where enemies are swarming you and you're trying to kill them, level up, gain some money, which is counted up here. There are various weapons with different rarities. For none of the games, apart from Garden of Life, we've not used any game engines. I coded them from scratch, so with C# and .NET framework only. So for this one, I've tried to make animations work because the characters and the walking animations, and I'm going to demo the game right now, which is here. it's you spawn with items, and you can move around with WASD. You can roll with space, which is a quick animation that I. So basically, every texture in the game is homemade. I made it with my little brother. For example, this is the same as the character, but um, they're trying to approach you, and when you get hit, you take damage. You can use the weapons to fight back. For example, this is a throwing dagger. This is a bow and arrow. And the rarities affect the accuracy of the weapon if it's a throwing weapon, such as a bow. For example, this one is pretty accurate, while this one not so much. The throwing daggers also penetrate through the enemies, which is a balancing issue that I'm trying to solve. The spear is a melee weapon where you just impale the enemies. There's a dagger, which looks like the throwing dagger, but it is different in a way that you can just quickly attack for little damage. And then there's this big sword, which makes you slow down while you're holding it, compared to the spear, for example. It is a slow animation, but because it is a common weapon, it is not dealing that much damage. And after I kill this one too, I'm gonna show there's also an inventory system where I can move around items. For example, I moved the bow to the first slot, and also armor, which you cannot equip yet, but the armor values are within the code. It's calculated for the damage reduction. I just don't have a way to equip them yet within the inventory. But that's it for this game. And you can also dodge to avoid taking damage, which is like a Souls-like, Dark Souls type of roll. And you can also post game. For this Guardian of Life game, I'm gonna leave the link also here in the portfolio if you wanna try. We made it with 6 people, so it's a lot more feature rich than the rest of the basic games that I made here. So that was it. Thank you for listening to my portfolio, and have a good day.